Welcome back. I'm still with Talk's international editor, Isabel Oakeshott. Isabel, I noticed that you tweeted about this. Kemi Badenoch, the new Tory leader, seems to have woken up and realised that we've had this sort of migrant crisis thing going on and that successive governments haven't handled it very well, including, of course, many Tory governments. Let's have an excerpt from the speech that she put out today.
We need to talk about immigration. The truth is that for nearly 30 years, mass migration has been far, far too high under all governments, by all parties, and not just here. Too high all across the Western world, and it can't continue. We need a new approach. I'm the new leader of the Conservative Party, and we're going to do things differently. I'm saying no more. The system is broken. We can't go on like this.
Well, wow, that's a bit generic, isn't it? I'll tell you what she needs to do, in my view, Isabel, for a kick-off, is leave the European Convention on Human Rights, so we are no longer beholden to the awful European Court of Human Rights, which pretty much wrecked the Rwandan scheme and will wreck any plan we have to deal with migrants decisively. She doesn't want to leave that organisation, so there's a problem there. But this is kind of bland and obvious stuff, isn't it? What does she think she's playing at there?
I'm so glad we're talking about this because, in fact, while we've been on air, I've actually had a letter, well, an email from Kemi. It says, Isabel needs to talk about immigration. And then she goes on to say that she's just given a very important speech. It's time to tell the truth, she says. Well, if she's going to tell the truth, then perhaps she could start with a fulsome apology, not just a kind of apology in passing, but a fulsome apology on behalf of her party for the absolute catastrophe that they have presided over. It's no good saying, you know, this has been the case all over the world for the past 30 years. Let's just focus on the last 14, shall we? And the millions of people that the Conservative Party allowed to come flooding into our country, only a fraction of whom have actually in recent years been net contributors. We're talking particularly those who have come across the channel who are generally very low skilled and are not bringing anything immediate, certainly not in the short term, to our communities. And, you know, she does it. She goes through the motions of saying sorry, but it isn't enough. You know, I think there needs to be a wholehearted acknowledgement of the disastrous consequences of what her party presided over. And how can voters trust the Conservatives when they got it so dreadfully wrong? Why now? Why now can she expect voters to say, oh, well, great, OK, you're the new leader. You're going to do things differently, are you? And you expect me to put my trust in that after what you've not done differently for the past 14 years?
Yeah, so leave the ECHR and they go, oh, no, but it's enshrined. There's the problem there. It's enshrined in Tony Blair's 1998 Equalities Act. Well, get rid of it. Show some resolve. Get rid of that. Leave the ECHR. We have the advantage of being an island. Turn the boats round in the middle of the channel, or if you really are against doing that, do what Australia did, and every migrant that arrives here on an illegal vessel, you broke our laws, therefore your asylum application is automatically rejected. You want to come to this country and apply for asylum, you do it legally. You do it illegally, that's it. You're over. You go home. Resolve. She is not showing any resolve in that speech, just like Rishi never did, just like Boris never did, just like Theresa May never did, just like David Cameron never did. They need to show resolve and do something concrete. Otherwise, this migrant crisis will get worse and worse and worse.
It's just an insult to voters' intelligence to deliver a generic speech like that. Yeah. Making criticisms of things that every single intelligent person in this country, and you don't even have to be particularly bright to recognise that things aren't working. We don't need to hear that from the new Tory leader. I want specifics, and I don't want to hear that over the course of the next few years, the Tories will work on working out what the specifics are going to be. It isn't difficult, this stuff. Net zero is the level of immigration that our country needs. We don't need any more people. One in, one out. That's absolutely fine. I would actually go further than that and say we actually need to reduce rather than have net zero. But net zero would allow you to make up for everybody who leaves. All that does is keep the population at the current levels, but it also assumes that any government, this government or any other one, has a grip on who is and isn't coming in, and they don't have that in the slightest.
She worries me, Kemi. I mean, for obvious reasons, she doesn't look like a sort of classic member of the Tory establishment, but I fear that she is just that. There's no dynamism about her. You know, she talks about her opponents not being serious, which is a classic Westminster put down that really gets on my nerves. It means I'm serious and I'll stay in the ECHR because it's, you know, you're just looking for simple solutions and so on and so forth. I don't think what the Tories need, as Reform UK prove on a daily basis, the Tories need a kind of pretty dramatic revolution to start being dynamic and stop being Westminster fuddy-duddies, to be honest with you. I'm not sure that she's shaping up to be the person to deliver that.
Well, I'm going to put a different argument here. I actually think she does come across very impressively. I think that she's made a pretty strong start as a new Conservative leader. What worries me is actually that she does seem quite good, but isn't actually that good. And that's what we don't want, is people falling for this. And I think that she's a lot more impressive, isn't she, than Keir Starmer?
Oh, yeah,
you know,
yeah.
She's got some gravitas. She's there's something about her. You know, she's interesting. I disagree that there's no dynamism there. I think she is quite dynamic. I think there's a bit of charisma going on there. I just worry that it will be just enough to persuade some naive former Tory voters that somehow or other the Conservatives offer the solutions to this country's future. They don't. Guys, you made that mistake time and again for many, many years. And it's not a good time to be deceived, because, you know, what is going to be left of our country in 4 years, 5 years' time is not going to be something that can be resolved by parties that have made the same mistakes over and over again.
Absolutely. I mean, I wish her all the best. I just think that, I agree with you, very bad start. It essentially is a start on the migrant crisis. Just say, you know, this immigration problem is pretty damn bad, and sorry about not getting to grips with it, but we'll do what we can. Isabel, great to talk to you as always.